Whenever we hear the word magic these days, our brains almost instantly default to pop culture. We think of wands, Hogwarts, rabbits and hats, or maybe those guys in Vegas making the Statue of Liberty disappear. It feels, harmless. Whimsical, even.
Exactly. It's entertainment. It's spectacle. But if you peel back the layers and look at it through the lens of Islamic theology, the word magic, or seir, takes on a completely different shape. It stops being about parlor tricks and becomes something much darker, almost radioactive.
That's what I want to dig into today. Because in Islam, this isn't a gray area, right? It's not just frowned upon. It's considered one of the major sins, a capital offense in spiritual terms.
It's actually terrified scholars for centuries. It is categorized as one of the mubiqat, the 7 destructive sins. And the reason isn't because you're pulling a coin from behind someone's ear. That's illusion. That's sleight of hand. Islam has no issue with skill or dexterity. The magic we are talking about here is an attempt to hack reality by bypassing the creator.
Hacking reality. That's a fascinating way to put it. So, let's define terms. If it's not card tricks, what exactly is seir according to Islamic tradition?
At its core, seir is defined as something hidden or subtle. But functionally, in the theological sense, it involves a transaction. That's the key word here, transaction. It is the practice of seeking assistance from the unseen, specifically the jinn, to alter perception, cause harm, or manipulate the natural order.
So it's a contract.
Precisely. And it's a contract where the human is always the loser, even if they think they're the master. You see, to get a jinn to do your bidding, to break a marriage, to cause sickness, to create a hallucination, the practitioner has to debase themselves. They have to prove to the entity that they have rejected the sovereignty of God.
That sounds incredibly heavy. It implies that the power doesn't come from the magician. The magician is just a vessel.
A humiliated vessel. There's a misconception that a sorcerer is this powerful wizard commanding the elements. In the Islamic worldview, the sorcerer is actually a slave to the jinn. They often have to perform acts of desecration, mocking religious texts, engaging in filth, just to get the jinn to listen. It's the ultimate inversion of faith. Faith is submission to God. Magic is submission to a creation of God in an attempt to play God.
That really clarifies the why it's bad part on a theological level. It's treason. You're defecting from the king to serve a rebel soldier.
That's a perfect metaphor. It is cosmic treason. That's why the Quran is so severe about it. In Surah Al-Baqarah, there's this profound retelling of the story of the angels Harut and Marut in Babylon. They taught magic, but they came with a disclaimer. They literally told people, "We are a test, so do not disbelieve."
Wait, so the knowledge itself was a test?
Yes, the ability to manipulate things exists, but accessing it requires you to sell your soul. The verse goes on to say that people learned what harms them and does not benefit them. That's the bottom line. Even if you get the result you want, let's say you use magic to make someone fall in love with you. The net result is harm.
Let's pull on that thread, the love spell idea. Because I feel like that's where this moves from abstract theology to messy human reality. Why is that considered so evil? If the outcome is 2 people together, why does Islam view it as destructive?
Because it's theft. You are stealing free will. In Islam, love that isn't granted by God or grown organically is a lie. If you use seir to bind someone to you, you haven't created love. You've created obsession. You've created a zombie. And biologically, spiritually, that bond is toxic. It usually leads to paranoia, illness, and a complete breakdown of the household.
It's artificial.
It's worse than artificial. It's coercive. Islam places a massive emphasis on the sanctity of the family unit. Magic is often used to destroy that unit, to separate a husband and wife. That is actually cited as one of the specific goals of demonic forces. So when someone engages in magic, they are actively participating in the dismantling of society's building blocks.
It destroys the social fabric.
Completely. Imagine a community where everyone is paranoid that their neighbor is casting a spell on them because they bought a new car. It breeds a culture of suspicion rather than gratitude. Instead of saying, God blessed him, you say, he must have used a talisman, or I'm sick, who cursed me? It shifts the locus of control from a just God to a chaotic, hidden war of wizards. It drives people insane.
That psychological toll seems immense. I mean, if you believe your bad luck is always someone else's doing, you lose your agency. You stop trying to improve yourself.
You hit the nail on the head. This is the psychological danger that parallels the spiritual one. Magic creates a victim mentality. If I fail my exam, it's not because I didn't study. It's because my aunt put a curse on me. If my business fails, it's the evil eye. While the evil eye, ayn, and magic, a seir, are real in Islamic theology, using them as a crutch for every failure paralyzes you. You stop looking for practical solutions or turning to God in prayer. Duo. You start looking for a counterspell.
It monetizes fear, doesn't it?
Oh, it's a massive industry. The healers who aren't legitimate, the charlatans who ask for your mother's name or ask you to bury something in a graveyard. They prey on the desperate. Islam hates exploitation, and magic is the ultimate exploitation of vulnerable people. You have a mother whose child is sick, and instead of a doctor, she pays a fortune to a magician who gives her a piece of paper with nonsense written on it. It's predatory.
Let's go back to the mechanism for a second. You mentioned illusion versus reality. Does Islam acknowledge that magic can actually change physical reality? Or is it all in the mind?
That's a deep debate among scholars, but the consensus is a mix of both. The Quran describes the magicians of Pharaoh. They bewitched the eyes of the people and struck terror into them. So in that case, the ropes didn't turn into snakes biologically, but the audience saw snakes. It was a mass hallucination induced by dark influence.
So, it hacked their perception.
Right? But there are other forms that affect the body, causing impotence, sickness, or intense heaviness. So it can have somatic effects. But here is the crucial catch, and this is the antidote to the fear. The Quran explicitly states, they cannot harm anyone through it except by permission of Allah.
That's a vital safeguard.
It's the only thing that keeps you sane. If you believe magicians have independent power, you live in terror. If you believe they are just trying to manipulate a system that God ultimately controls, you realize they are weak. The power of the spell is fragile. It breaks the moment you reconnect with the Creator.
So, the remedy isn't more magic. The remedy is what?
The remedy is tawhid, pure monotheism, and recitation of the Quran. Specifically, the last 2 chapters of the Quran, the Falaq and the Nas, were revealed specifically as a shield against these things. The logic is simple. You don't fight darkness with a different shade of darkness. You turn on the light.
I like that. You don't fight darkness with darkness. But tell me, in the modern world, this stuff seems to be making a comeback. We see a huge rise in manifesting, crystals, engaging with spirit guides. Is that just harmless New Age trends? Or does it flirt with this definition of seer?
That is a very provocative question. Look, not every meditation practice is magic. But when you start invoking entities, or when you believe that a stone has an independent will to change your destiny, or you try to bind someone's energy without their consent, you are walking on the edge of a very steep cliff.
It's the intent to control the unseen again.
Exactly. The modern terminology has changed. We don't say demons, we say energies. We don't say spells, we say manifesting specific outcomes through rituals. But if the mechanism is, I am bypassing the Creator to force the universe to give me what I want through a hidden transaction, the spiritual DNA is dangerously close to seir.
It sounds like the ultimate form of arrogance. I can control the universe.
And that arrogance is the legacy of Iblis, Satan. That's why it's bad. It's not just rule breaking. It's adopting the personality trait of the devil. Arrogance. The belief that you know better than the system designed by God.
There's also a philosophical aspect here I want to touch on. If someone uses magic, They are essentially saying they aren't content with their destiny, right?
Yes, it's a rejection of qadr, divine decree. It's a temper tantrum against reality. I didn't get the job, so I'll force it. She doesn't love me, so I'll force her. It's the inability to accept that perhaps God's plan for you involved a delay or a denial for your own good. Magic is the shortcut. And like all shortcuts in mythology and theology, it leads to a dead end.
It reminds me of the monkey's paw story. You get the wish, but the cost is unbearable.
Every time. And the cost in Islam is your akhirah, your afterlife. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that whoever goes to a fortune teller and believes them has disbelieved in what was revealed to Muhammad. It's that serious. It cuts the cord between you and your faith. You trade an eternity of peace for a momentary illusion of control.
That's a terrifying trade. It really puts into perspective why the prohibition is so strict. It's not about restricting fun. It's about protecting the soul from essentially deleting itself.
And protecting society from chaos. Imagine a court of law where evidence doesn't matter, only spells. Imagine a hospital where medicine is replaced by incantations. Islam is a religion of intellect, evidence, and natural law, underpinned by spirituality. Magic tries to drag humanity back into the dark ages of superstition and fear.
It's anti-intellectual as well as anti-spiritual.
100%. It shuts down the mind. Instead of analyzing why your marriage is failing, maybe we have communication issues, maybe we need counseling. You blame a curse. It stops you from doing the hard work of living.
So, for the listener who might be feeling like things are going wrong in their life, unexplained bad luck, heaviness, and they're tempted to look for these hidden solutions, what is the Islamic perspective on how to handle that vulnerability?
The perspective is to embrace the vulnerability as a call to return to God. If you feel heavy, you purify your home. You recite the Quran. You give charity, sadaqah. You check your own actions. Are you being just to people? You don't look outward for a wizard. You look upward to the Creator and inward at your own heart.
It's about taking responsibility versus outsourcing it to the shadows.
Beautifully put. Outsourcing to the shadows always comes with high interest rates. Taking responsibility and asking God for help is free, and it builds character.
We've covered the definition, the theology, the social destruction, and the psychology. It's clear that seir is viewed as a cancer in the spiritual body.
A malignant one, and one that spreads quietly.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave the listeners with a thought about the future. As we get more technological, do you think we will see less of this, or will it just mutate?
I think it will mutate. We are already seeing a fusion of techno-mysticism. People looking for algorithms to predict their fate, or treating AI like an oracle. The human desire to peek behind the curtain and control the future is eternal. The tools change, but the temptation is the same. The challenge for the modern believer is to remain grounded in the idea that the unseen belongs to God alone. We aren't meant to hack the firewall. We are meant to trust the programmer.
We aren't meant to hack the firewall. That is a powerful image to end on. It really emphasizes that boundaries exist for our protection, not just our restriction.
Absolutely. The boundary is where safety lies.
This has been a deeply enlightening conversation. It takes a topic that is usually whispered about in fear and puts it under a logical, spiritual microscope.
It was a pleasure. It's a conversation we need to have more openly.
For everyone listening, next time you see a horoscope or hear about a healer who promises to fix your life for a fee, remember the cost of the transaction. Sometimes, the hardest path, patience, prayer, and hard work is actually the only one that leads somewhere real. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the forbidden knot.
Stay safe and keep your trust in the right place.
Until next time.